Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I just watched Claire play my co-host, who hasn't introduced herself yet, play Ori for 7 hours.
And I'm Claire, and I'm a Will of the Wisp.
Hey, and this is Make
Make
That
that
Game,
game, where we pitch the latest
the greatest
new video game ideas.
that aren't. They're ideas. They're ideas. They don't exist.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
Got any gaming endeavors / newses for
I
me?
do. Of course I do. I always do.
What do you got for me?
So as far as endeavors, not a ton. Like you mentioned, we've been doing a lot of Ori.
Yes.
Ori and the Will of the Wisp, to be specific.
An oldie in your
Yes.
portfolio.
Yes, I started playing it, I think, in 2020. And then I didn't play it for like a year. Now I'm
got rusty.
I'm remembering some of the reasons why.
I say you got rusty, but a year ago there was one area that you couldn't do, and we looked up the speed run tactic. You could glitch the game that made it easier, but still couldn't do it. And then you just come at it after a year of not practicing, and you blow that area away.
I did.
That's
and
pretty
listeners,
impressive.
Guess what I found on the other side of that area? Yeah, that's right. I couldn't go in the door. I was missing 3 items.
It was an end game.
The game didn't tell me, but we'll get into that in the honks and bonks, right?
Oh, so a little preview into what's being honked and bonked tonight.
I also do have some news. So
news.
Yes. So for news today, I don't know if you've heard, but Netflix is making an Assassin's Creed live action show.
Oh, I actually hadn't heard that.
So that's news. There you go.
Gaming news.
Not only are they making an Assassin's Creed live action show, but in companion, they have partnered with Ubisoft and are working on a Assassin's Creed mobile game to complement the show, which will be free to all Netflix subscribers.
Do you think it'll be like a gacha game, like a here's characters from the franchise that you collect and pay lots of money for?
Well, no, because it's free.
Well, free to
for
play,
subscribers. But but the way Netflix games are going, they really want to be games. Like they're not because they're part of a subscription service. I think Netflix's goal is that people subscribe not just to watch Netflix. That they're like, I also want access to these games. I don't think they're trying to create these income generating mobile games in that sense. They
exist in the Netflix ecosystem.
Exactly. And also because the games I've played in the Netflix ecosystem so far aren't that way. Like they're not money grabbing.
Okay.
They don't have in-app purchases. As long as you're subscribed to Netflix, you're good to go.
Okay.
So that's my news. Nothing huge, but something to look out for, especially if you like that series. Isaac, what about you? What have you been endeavoring, newsing of late?
I saw, this is in the same vein. I saw that a couple new games were announced. I actually don't know how recent it is. It's the first time I saw it. And I'm pretty tuned in, even if I don't normally share breaking news, and I don't seem like I'm tuned in because I am very often ignorant, but I'm pretending like I'm tuned in. Ghosts of Tsushima 2 is on the roadmap. So Ghost of Tsushima 1 is a pretty popular game I haven't played. I've been meaning to. My understanding of it is a samurai movie Dark Souls. So Dark Souls kind of gameplay with the veneer of a samurai movie. You start off in I think a Mongolian warlord cuts your arms off. No, that's a different one. But anyways, you get humiliated and left for dead, and then the goal of the game is to come back and get vengeance on the person who humiliated you. That's my understanding of it. Write in if I'm wrong, listener. That a Wolverine game is getting made,
Oh,
and I kind of like Wolverine
okay.
as like a Marvel
All
character.
right.
Uh, it would be I hope that they do what's right, and because you play as an immortal, ever healing character, that you are literally immortal, and they just find out gameplay ways of not making it so that like you have a health bar that can be emptied and then you lose the game for whatever reason. I hope that they stick to it. Game
All
design
right.
tip: if your character is immortal, make them immortal. And then something Spider-Man 2 in the same vein, and a lot of people really like the Spider-Man 1 game, so a sequel to it should be pretty fire.
Oh yeah, now I'm remembering the Spider-Man 1 game, just the hype. I have never played, but
Yeah,
wow,
so
you've got a lot of news. That's awesome.
as far as games I've been playing is I'm going to start off. So Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma is a game that I played on the Xbox 360 for a little bit, not all of it, but I instead of hooking up my Xbox 360 again, I decided to download it on Steam. So I went out and bought it for a second time. Who does that?
You do
Uh,
that.
Actually, funny story about how I came to that
Uh
is
huh.
recently I saw a conversion mod, or not a conversion mod, but a mod for Skyrim, which made it have like Dark Souls style combat. And I like the way Dark Souls combat plays out, like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, like that kind of game. It feels good to me. I'm used to it, and I've always thought that Skyrim had extremely lackluster combat. So I was trying to figure out how to install this mod, and there's like different editions of Skyrim that like certain mods are compatible with, and I'm trying to figure it out. I asked my friend who plays lots and lots of Skyrim how to install this mod, and he's like, honestly, don't bother if you are like play Dark Souls. And I was like, oh, that's right. And he's like, and if you don't want to play Dark Souls, play Dragon's Dogma. And then he started talking to me, like explaining Dragon's Dogma to me, and I was like, dude, I'm the one who got you into Dragon's Dogma. Come on, I know about Dragon's Dogma. So, anyways, started playing Dragon's Dogma, and here's the fun part. Last episode, Claire mentioned Kirby Star Allies. You can't command your allies. What can you do in Dragon's Dogma? You can command your allies on the little
Ooh.
D-pad. You can say, "Come here," and they run up on you, or you can say, "Go there," and they run to over there, or you can say, "Stop attacking," and they stop attacking.
That's the
You
one
have
I want.
you have all kinds of commands that you can do. It's brilliant. It's basically this is the Dark Souls of Kirby Star Allies games.
Okay.
Is how I
Wow.
will now describe Dragon's Dogma.
I mean, now it sounds very interesting to me.
And
Now you're
the
hooked me.
speaking of hooks, I started replaying it, and whoo boy, it is slow. It is a slow start. So I've been playing for an hour and a half, maybe now, and I have a 20-foot strip of road between the town I'm in and the encampment, and there's like 5 goblins there, and that's all I've got until I do the encampment, but I don't want to do the encampment yet because I have some quests in the town that I want to finish up, which are like kill 7 mice, and I can't find the mice, but they've got to be in the town, right? And then, kill 10 goblins. So it's like a bunch of those kinds of quests. But if I go to the encampment, I know that once I go to the encampment, not only do I have to fight a big Hydra, but after I fight that Hydra, I have a big quest to take that Hydra on like the head of the Hydra to the king, which is a really long quest that involves this very annoying fight with harpies that I remember. And like the game doesn't open up until you do that stuff. So
Okay.
this goes back to the question that I asked last week, like how long do you give a game to hook you? And it's like I know that once I get past this hurdle, it'll be a good game. But like getting through this hurdle, like I know exactly what's coming, and I'm still like I don't want to do that part. That part is so bothersome. But I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it
Um,
is.
Besides that, I've played Tuhu, Hidden Star in 4 seasons, which is another oldie but goodie that I've returned to. It is if you're familiar with Tuhu games, which I know Claire is.
Am I?
Yeah, you love Tuhu games. You've
Uh-huh.
never heard of them in your life, no.
No. Well, it sounds familiar, not going to lie, but do I know anything about it? No.
It's a bullet hell shoot 'em up. So it fills your screen with bullets,
Great.
and you have to dodge all of them,
That sounds like
and
something
while
you would like.
shooting at enemies yourself.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I used to be like not good, but also like not terrible, and I'm straight up terrible at this game now. I I forgot where you're supposed to be looking. Like, am I supposed to focus on my character and like the immediate area around that, and like just focus on dodging things? And if I actually kill anything when I'm shooting, good for me. Or am I supposed to be targeting enemies and like just moving around constantly hoping I'm dodging? Uh, or am I supposed to be focusing on everything at once? I don't think I'm capable of doing that. But anyways, I love me a good shmup. So
We know you love a good shmup.
yeah. And then even more gaming from this guy.
Wow.
I've had such an intense week of gaming.
Wow.
I went back to revisit TamTam, which is a Pokemon up. A Pokemon up. No, it's monster taming RPG, so you collect monsters not in balls like Pokemon, you collect them in cards, which makes
Not
even
like
less
Pokemon at
sense,
all.
honestly. But yeah, no, it's very blatantly just like, hey, we're a Pokemon game with a twist. And I think that's what's I'm gonna honk and bonk today, so I'll save my deep dive for that
Okay. Sounds
for
good.
later. Speaking
All
of
right.
honk and bonk,
Yeah.
Claire, what
That's
do you
me.
got for me, for
I'm going to
Isaac?
honk and bonk Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, that's the game we were just talking
That's the game
about.
we were just talking about. Yeah. So, as
Wow.
a brief summary of the game, or hold on. Okay. So, as a brief summary of the game, Ori lives in this like beautiful forest. It's like this little creature. I don't remember. I
Like a little fox guy.
Yeah, I started this game so long ago. I think they said what Ori was at some point. I think Ori's actually a very rare type of animal,
A lemur.
or like something special in the forest. The only one who could collect the wisps, obviously, because why else would we play any video game if I wasn't the chosen one, right? And it has this little owl friend, and this is where maybe like going back to last week's discussion on tutorials and cutscenes. Honestly, this one got me into the game. Like, you get super attached to this owl character through a bunch of cutscenes, and then the owl. So it's this owl that they find that can't fly, and they make it a new wing, and it fly around so cute, and they're all best friends. And then the owl loses its little wing, and it falls, and it gets lost in like this like degrading like corrupted forest, and so you have to find all the will of the wisps to bring the forest back so that you can get your owl best friend back. And let me tell you, that heart-wrenching story really pulls you in. You're like, well, I have to. I have to play it now.
You gotta protect your little buddy.
I got to get my little buddy back. He can't even fly. Anyway, so that's at the start of the game. Other basics like mechanics, it's a platformer. It's a lot. So there's just a lot going on at all times.
It's an intense up.
It's pretty. I feel like I need to stop saying things are pretty though, because like most games we play, I tend to be like, wow, the graphics are so either fun or beautiful or like, I don't know. So, but this one
It's one of the draws, right? Like
it is. But I want to try to expand what I can like honk and bonk.
True, fair.
And I think the only game I bonked the graphics of was the SpongeBob game, because that was a remaster of a game from like 2007. So obviously it's not going to be great.
Not the best, yeah.
But most games I play, I like what they look like. But I just so people, if you're interested in Ori, like one of the draws is that like the graphics are just really cool. The setting is really cool, but let's move on to the honks. So one of the honks is that there's lots of attack options, and you get to design your keypad, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but basically you can, I play on Switch, and you can choose what A, X, and Y are, and you have a variety of like purchase with, you get like coins in the world. You can purchase different weapons, and you can assign whatever weapon you want to whatever slot you want. And I like that because
Okay.
I kind of like Kirby. I always play Kirby on like the alternate control setting, and I wish I even had more control over which controls are what. I also like that you can switch what you're using mid-battle. So like if you suddenly are like, you know what, I want to try this one, you can switch it right up. I think that's really nice, and it helps me design like what the best controller situation is for me. So I like that. I also like, well, I thought I liked, I don't know, after my, this is a honk/bonk. So I thought I liked that you can choose your own kind of path. So there's lots of side quests. Also, once you unlock the big quest, it appeared that you could go whichever way you wanted. There's basically 4 wisps you have to collect in 4 different areas of the game. And it seemed like it's very open world, and you can kind of decide which one you want to go for first. But I was wrong, because when I went for one, it was like, oh, we actually need the other 3 before you can enter this.
Perfect.
And so that one can't be first.
Open world.
No one told me that. And then now I'm fighting this thing in here, and I was looking online because I had to, because I was stuck. So I was looking at some tutorials, and they're like, oh, just use this ability that you get in the Bower Breach, which is like a location. But I decided I didn't do that one yet. So I was like, well, was I supposed to do that one first? I don't like, there's no order to them. So you assume that it's okay to do it in whatever order you want, but then you get there and you're like, I guess not.
No.
So that's frustrating.
That's a bait and switch.
Yeah, but I mean, in theory, I like the fact that you can kind of move around, and I will say the save points / teleport points make it very simple. Like, yeah, it's annoying that I got to the gate and then I had to leave, but luckily there's a save point very close, so it's like I can easily just go back. I don't have to like trek through the entire world or like area to get there. So that's, that's kind of, like I said, that's like a honk/bonk. The other honk I have is it does have really creative problem solving. So like, I think the battles and the puzzles and the areas stretch my brain in a really fun way. It's not baby easy at all.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. And so it makes me feel really accomplished when I do finish it. It's like, wow, like I figured that out. But we're moving on to the bonks. And one of the bonks is kind of connected to that, is like, sometimes once you figure out how to do something, it's still incredibly difficult to actually do it. So this game is very picky, I'll say. Like, everything needs to be precise. Like, an example of this is like you have to jump on bubbles. When you jump on the top of a bubble, it gives you a jump boost, so you can jump higher. If you miss by even a little bit the top, you just kind of push the bubble and you fall down. Like, there's no,
Thanks.
like, the box is so small for that. And that's just one example, but it's like, it is so precise that it can be kind of frustrating sometimes. Because it might be like, I conceptually know exactly what I have to do, but I just physically cannot do it. Like, cannot do it. And then I have to be like, Isaac, please use your gamer brain / hands and do this for me. So I've had him finish puzzles for me because I'm so frustrated that I've done it 15, 20 times and still can't do it.
But at least you figured it out.
Right.
Keep that in mind, because this might come back later.
True. The other thing is you do die really fast. Like, Isaac was kind of experiencing this when he was trying to help me fight a battle, which neither of us have been able to beat yet. But there's so many things that will kill you. Like, you could be swimming, there could be no enemies, but like, oh, sorry, the moss on the side of the rocks, that's actually poison, and you're going to get damage from that. Like, some of it's obvious, like spiky things. Okay, like I can see that, but sometimes you're like, wait, what? Like, that was bad? Okay, great.
Excuse me. One thing I noticed was sometimes like the spiky things are like slightly covered by like an overlay of like the background. Like it'll have like foliage in kind of an overlay situation, and then
Mm-hmm.
that foliage will kind of cover an
Jeez.
obstacle, and then you hit the obstacle, and you're like, what? What?
Yeah, so basically you have to accept pretty quickly that you're going to die a lot in this game. Um, Although it does, one of the things it counts is how many times you die, which I think is so rude. So rude.
It does? Oh
You
my
could, yeah, you
god.
can look at that stat. I'm like, I don't ever want to, but it has it.
Okay.
So I guess if you wanted to challenge yourself for like least amount of deaths, but geez, yeah, and
No
like
death run. They're
it,
popular.
it's not just that everything's dangerous, but I feel like things take a lot from you. Like I actually forgot that I had a setting because you can pick 4 abilities to equip at any time, and one of mine is to take 20% less damage. So even where we are now, I'm taking 20% less damage because it was so hard for me to stay alive. I like cannot unequip that, and it's still hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like there's just like, and I've only missed finding, because you can find, I shouldn't say obviously, a lot of games have this though, where you can find extra life slots throughout the game as you like progress. And I'm only missing 1, so that's not the issue. That's not the issue here. Like, I found most of them that I was supposed to by now. So
Wow.
I wonder where that one is. Well, we'll see. But
So,
anyway,
I can I interject for a
yeah.
second? This is an annoyance that I have. This is a bonk in general. So the game, your health is measured in spheres. But the and the damage that you do, like no numbers come up, like
No.
whatever. But it tells you, oh, this item reduces damage taken by 20%.
Oh,
What's
but
20
you,
damage of a sphere? What's 20% of a sphere in damage? What does that mean? Oh, this item increases damage you deal by 15%. What does that mean?
oh yeah, if I don't
We're
know how
dealing in
much
abstract
damage, yeah.
shapes here. It's like if Legend of Zelda was like, oh, you'll do 17% more damage with this sword. And you're like, uh, I've got hearts above. I take damage in fourths of a heart. How? What does that? Anyways, that's just an annoyance I have. Like
Yeah.
when you are hiding the numbers behind like 12 layers of abstraction to like present it to the player in a very easy way, don't give me percentages. I cannot. That means nothing to me.
Let's remember that Isaac is the one who's building a non-random RPG because he wants all damage to be predictable all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, you will know exactly how much damage you'll deal in any given situation, barring maybe one moment of trial and error. Like when I say trial and error in this game that we are now talking about, like you might come across an enemy that like takes reduced fire damage, but once you find out that enemy does reduced fire damage, you'll know that, oh, fire damage will be halved from now on if I use a fire attack against that enemy. You know exactly what's going on. If you have 12 damage plus 15%, you can do that math, unlike Ori.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how much damage Ori does.
Yeah.
20% plus? Pff, pff.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know what, maybe this might be an issue with just like puzzle games in general. Though I will say Ori has a lot of battling, like even outside of the puzzles, like you're fighting enemies almost all the time. Except there is one. This is like one of my favorite things in video games is when like games like this have a little area that's like it's like a little village. It's like a little happy
Oh.
place. And that's where you can go to like buy stuff and just hang out, and you know you won't see scary things there. So you know, like the like Waddle Dee town in Kirby and the Forgotten Land, or the little village in Link's Awakening. Like I just love that. I don't know. I can't describe
Right.
it. It's like coming home from like the big battle, and you're like, I just need a nap. Anyway, so Ori does have that, which is nice. But no, you're right. It's tough, and the other bond kind of connects to all of these, which is just sometimes I feel really discouraged with the amount of backtracking I have to do.
If there's one thing Claire hates, it's backtracking or
Yeah,
repeating the same thing.
exactly. And this game really tests that for me. Like you have to do this. Maybe you don't. Maybe other people are better at this, but over and over and over and over again. And it does discourage me from playing, which I think is why I stopped initially. But it's also a really good game, and it's kind of hard to put down. So, like for example, I was playing it, and I was just gonna try it to like beat one thing, and then I played for 3 hours. So that's just what it is. But yeah, so I do like it. honestly, like, it's a really good game, but just know it is hard. I wonder if I have it on like hard mode. Maybe I can put it on easier mode.
Oh, that would be weird if you had it on hard mode.
I probably don't. You know what? I bet I have it. If I have it on any mode that's not easy, it's probably normal. Maybe we should put it to easy because it's really hard. But I think I just had, especially when I was starting out gaming, I was like, I want to be a good gamer. I don't want to be like blah blah blah. And I didn't. I thought
You
putting
can
it on
play
easy
any mode.
I know. So
Any
I will
difficulty.
look at that when we're done this cast. But I also wanted to say that it was kind of cool. I think part of it is playing. I do better a little bit when I'm using a controller versus the handheld Switch. But even so, I was like way better at playing it than I was 2 years ago, and it just felt nice to be like, I'm better at video games.
Practice makes perfect.
It's just nice. So yeah, I would say overall, Ori is a fantastic game. Really unique, great story. It's very hard. Just be prepared. Isaac, what about you? Do you have a game to honk and bonk for us today?
Yes, I have TamTam.
TamTam.
Hold on, let me bring it up. TamTam, developed by Crema, Creama. It is a monster collecting turn-based RPG. Very Pokemon-like. So yeah, it recently updated. I haven't played in a few years. I decided to check it out. I did not get the benefit of any updated content in the time that I played, which was not very long yet, but probably after this episode I'll play it a little more. So let's go to the honks.
All right.
It has a lot of these honks look like they're going to be like in comparison to Pokemon. So that maybe I'm not doing the strongest this time, but
It's whatever
we'll
you
go
want.
for it.
Yeah.
So there's this stamina system. So every one of your moves takes a certain amount of stamina to employ. If you don't have enough stamina to use it, you can still use it, but you will take an amount of damage for overexerting yourself. And you regenerate a certain amount of stamina every turn. And I think that that is a very interesting way to shake up like the normal mechanics of like a monster battler game where like in Pokemon you have power points, PP.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just every time you use an attack you use one, and when you run out you can't use that attack anymore. I think adding this stamina system and like the risk reward of, oh, do I use this move, like this higher stamina move is more powerful, but I'll overexert myself and take a little damage, or do I use a weaker move this turn? And it adds another layer of thought process to the select and attack. Like in
Right.
Pokemon, I would just Earthquake every single turn because Earthquake is 110% damage or whatever. It's the highest damage I'll do, so why would I ever use it except for the case of a Pokemon that isn't weak to Earthquake? Like if it is a flying type and therefore completely immune. Just adds another layer of complexity to think about over the normal monster battler formula. Second thing is the UI will actually show you whether an attack is going to be effective, like super effective, not effective, etc. when you hover over an enemy, and it doesn't do that until you've used an attack of that type against that TamTam.
Okay. So it's like
So
you have to discover what works and what doesn't.
yes, there is the trial and error element, but and also if you like know like the types, you can still figure out, oh, this is not going to be strong versus that. But until you figure out the types of the enemy, which it won't just tell you on the UI if it's a
Mm-hmm.
wild one or an enemy one you're meeting for the first time,
Right.
like you won't know what's good or not. But if you use a water attack and water does half damage, the next time you go to use a water attack, it'll be like this. It'll have a red circle around it to indicate that it'll do half damage. If you have something that'll do double or quadruple damage, it'll have a green circle around it, and you'll go, "Ah, yes, perfect. I will use that." So, just a little UI tidbit that makes it a little bit more convenient to play. You don't have to sit there and go, "Oh shoot, is blokey is he rock type and ground type, or is he plant like? You don't have to. You also don't have to remember like, oh, is ice is like the ice equivalent strong versus grass or bugs, or what's it strong versus? You don't have to keep in mind the entire 18 types and how they do against another 18 types. You can just kind of just like, oh, that one's red, better not use that one. Oh, that one's green, how convenient, sort of
Yeah,
deal.
I like that actually a lot because that's part of Pokemon that I'm like, how does everyone just know how all these stats for these things?
Yep. Another thing that it does differently, this is neither a honk nor a bonk, but it is something that I want to make note of in
Mhm.
case anybody is out there rushing to play this game based on my honks and bonks here. Everything is a double battle in Pokemon terms, so it's always two of yours versus two of theirs. Unless you or your opponent only has one, or if there's only one wild TamTam in this. So uh I personally don't like it, but I'm not going to say it's a bonk because it's fine. I just, you know, never dug the multi-battle thing. Even in Dragon Warrior Monsters, which is one of my favorite monster catching RPGs, it's always 3 versus 3. And I'm like, "No. 1 versus 1.
No.
Make it easy for me." So onto the bonks. First thing that's immediately obvious, and this might just be the early game areas because I'm still not super late game. I played it like quite a bit when it first came out, like in early access, and I'm like almost to the point where the early access content ends, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
So not quite to anything that would be like any further produced content, and maybe it gets better as Temtem grew, but the area slash level design is very uninteresting. It's like very basic mazes. And it doesn't even have visual, like, it's very clearly tile based mazes. So I don't know, it's just boring to look at. It's like, okay, so in this grass area, there is a maze of bushes for me to navigate to. Okay. Maze of trees in the forest. Cool. Oh, the ruins. A very basic maze of uh ruined blocks, like
You don't
junk and
say.
stuff. Yeah. So very uninspiring. Uh, yeah. And then I have no idea what was going on with it, but like my level 25 Watchy Watchy and level 23 Higamim, and I'm just making up these names
Oh,
because
okay. I
that's
was
how
gonna say this
Temtem seems
sounds
to do it.
very like it's like so off-brand Pokemon. Like if a TV show wanted to have Pokemon but didn't want to license it.
So I feel like that. So that's what it feels like. But because I know Krima is, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think that they are a Spanish-based. Wow, the official release date of this game was September 6th, 2022. It's been in early access that entire time. Okay, but I think it's Spanish-based. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, they're based in Madrid, Spain. So like Pokemon English names are based on puns a lot of the time, or they'll be like portmanteaus of like English words.
Well, they're
So like you,
also in French. So I speak French and I like to set my Pokemon to French because I love the French names and they have jokes as well. So like execute is my favorite because execute obviously is a pun in English, right? Like
mhm.
execute, and then in French it's know enough, which is actually still kind of an English pun, but enough is an egg, and then like know enough is like know enough, but it's enough.
Wow, I
Anyway,
like it,
I'm just
but
saying
like,
the puns are good.
so these names might very well be like meaningful puns or jokes or something in Spanish,
Hmm.
but to me, it feels like
I'll have to see
very off-brand Pokemon.
if one of our listeners and my coworker who is actually in Madrid now and speaks Spanish, maybe he can be a consultant and tell
Yes.
us if any of these are actual puns.
Yeah, or if they are just like, let's call him Weechi Heechi. Like, I like because they're so gibberish to me. Like none of them stand out in my head. Like I could not tell you what any of these Temtems are called. But that's neither a honk nor a bonk either. But anyways, the point I was trying to get is I'll have like a level 24 and a level 25, and like a level 9 and an 11 will show up. And I'll be like, all right, time to stomp these. Just do my attacks in battle, and it'll do like half their life, and then they'll do like 3/4 to all of my life in return. I'm like, what do levels mean? If this is how this is going to play out, like what's going on in this universe where the such low level temtems are just annihilating things. Like okay, there's like type matchup to take into concerns, but that just feels like rock paper scissors more than the levels meaning anything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
if I have a level 1 use a good move, like a type efficient move into a level 100, like what's going to happen there? Is that still going to be like that jarring of a battle? Like I should not be losing my more than double level guys to puny weaklings. Otherwise, there's no point in levels.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's TamTam by Krima. I'm like, play it. If you like Pokemon, give it a try. If you've got a PC, you like Pokemon, I think it's cheap enough.
Good.
It does some interest. It has interesting takes on the monster catching
Isaac's
formula.
review. It's
As
cheap enough.
I actually don't know the price. Oh, 45?
Oh, is that not cheap enough?
Wait, but this bundle is 20.
Guess you gotta get the bundle.
Huh, I'm confused. Okay, yeah, anyways, I will neither recommend nor unrecommend this game. It has pros, it has cons, and it
As
is
must do.
not it's not hooking me, as it were.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So now that we've honked, now that we've bonked, Claire, are you gonna pitch a video game or two or three
I'm actually
to
gonna
me?
pitch just one, like usual.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
did. I
Well,
didn't know we were allowed to bring more. I would have brought more.
yeah, there's nothing stopping us from just pitching back and forth into perpetuity. We would, I guess, never release that episode because it would just be ongoing, but like there
Yeah.
no reason we can't.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of reasons actually, like jobs and sleeping and snacks. But hey,
No job, only podcast.
dream big. Dream big. Anyway, I'm gonna pitch a game. I'm excited about this one. I was a little. I'm glad you pitched last week. You pitched like a really like in-depth cool game, so I wanted to make an in-depth cool game as
Are
well.
you talking about my game where you have a gun in one hand and a sword in another hand and you
It's.
can't use them for anything
I
else?
think it was in-depth and well thought
Okay.
out.
Thank you. Thank you. Darko. Everyone, listen to last week's episode
Actually, I
to
just
learn
realized
about Darko.
the lighting situation in mine is actually really similar too.
Oh, yes, the Darko spreads.
So this one's called Neon Village. And
Okay.
I wanted it to look like, so if anyone's played Kirby in the Forgotten Land, the levels where Kirby's a light bulb, it kind of looks like an 80s skate park. That's the vibe.
Okay.
And so the story is that you're in Neon Village and they've run out of neon, so all their lights are out. And you're
No.
a skater, a roller skater. But when you roller skate, you generate energy. So you're gonna be roller skating around, generating neon, and so like you have like a cool like trail behind you as you skate, and as you skate through levels, like more things will illuminate. You collect like energy packs to like so each level you complete, the town gets more and more well lit, but obviously they're harder and harder. So you also can gain different abilities. So like weird gravity, maybe you're like skating in the air, like boosters, like rocket booster shoes, things like that. Yeah, that's it. That's Neon Village. So I thought of it, like you kind of like, I guess these are adventure games, right? Like Link's Awakening, Ori, where like you have like different areas of a world and you have to like conquer each one.
Yeah, so is there gonna be like power ups that you can get in one
Yeah.
area and then go back to another area
Oh,
and
yeah.
re-explore?
Let's do that. Yes.
Okay, so
I
that
think, yeah.
that makes it into a Metroidvania at that point,
Okay. Sure.
which is one of those subgenres. It's a combination of Metroid and Castlevania. It's a portmanteau. Going
Okay.
back to those, it's a Pokemon episode, folks.
Portmanteau.
Yeah, yeah. So the hallmark of that is you see a cliff like early on that you can't quite jump to the top of, but then as you play the game you get double jump and then you go, oh, I can go back to the cliff
Yeah.
and double jump to the
I
top
like
of the cliff.
See, I like that because as much as I don't like repeating myself, if I know I have like something, it's like something to work towards. Like you get excited. Like that's why Isaac's game has a lot of water features, and I keep telling him like if you don't make swimming a thing I earn, I'm out. I'm out
Witches
because
can't swim.
every time I see water in a game, like a significant body of water, I'm like I'm gonna get swimming. I'm gonna get swimming at some point. It's coming down the path. Like it'll be here. I'm
Well, I
usually
hope I
right.
don't
I'm
disappoint.
usually right. Hey, I'm gonna push you to do it. I'm gonna inspire you to create a water level in your game, or at least just like a water pathway you have to travel in order to get somewhere. It could be boats. I'd take boats. You get a ship
There are
ability.
boats.
There are already boats. Wow,
Well, not already, but
but
there will be
in the
boats.
plan
There is a
already
plan for
planned. But
boats.
yeah, that's Neon Village, 80s synth music, good vibes, good times.
Nice. I have another question about it
Okay,
before we wrap this up.
sure.
So you generate energy by skating. Is it a mechanic where like you skate, you like fill an energy bar as you move maybe, and then you expend that to do special moves or tricks or like attack in combat, or
That could work. I also
do you
thought it was
keep
just
your
gonna like
momentum going?
help light the level itself too. Like
Okay.
as you skate, the level lights. If you slow down, like it gets dimmer and dimmer. But for it to light the town itself, you would be collecting like power packs or something in each
Gotcha.
area, so that there's like a bigger thing you need to get. Maybe it's like all the different colors that neon can be. I don't know.
And then presumably as you power up the town, you get more things that you can do in town, like when you rescue Waddle Dees and
Ah,
Curry.
yeah, I
Like,
love that mechanic.
okay, good, good, good,
Let's
good,
do
good, good.
that for sure. Oh man, there could be like mozzarella sticks. I don't know. I feel like every time I'm at a roller rink, I get mozzarella sticks, and
Mozzarella sticks, people.
and they could heal you. You know,
Of course, little mozzarella stick potions.
they do in real life. They do on the game.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like a real life health potion, 3d6 HP.
Every time you eat a mod stick. All right, Isaac, do you have honks and bonks for us?
I gave you my honks and bonks.
I meant a game pitch.
I don't
I
this
did mean a
week.
game pitch. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't have a game pitch this week, so please don't yell at me, viewers, listeners. Actually, we're on YouTube now, so I
We
can
have
call
viewers
people
and
viewers. We have
listeners.
viewers and
If
listeners.
you think Isaac dropped the ball, please leave us a comment and subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, yeah. Don't dislike the video, but
No.
do leave a comment mentioning your dislike of me specifically, and then like the video because you like Claire.
Well, it's okay though because I think you brought us something else, right?
I did. I've got a question that came up while I was watching you. So last episode we did a deep dive with
Yeah.
Isaac.
And a deep dive with Isaac, and we're gonna do it again. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know if you like it. Let us know if you like this new deep dive.
Yeah, if you hate this, like we'll stop, but I like it so far. So okay. This is going to be a very familiar question to you because you are the one who actually brought it up this episode. In a game, there's often the two phases, especially in like puzzle based games, figuring it out and then executing it.
Mm-hmm.
And should a game value figuring it out more or less than actually executing it? Like,
I like this.
if you know what needs to be done, should you just like should you be able to do it versus like this very precise execution. And there's accounting for genre or like what the game is trying to do. Like if this is supposed to be a super difficult game, like I guess it probably values the execution much more than the figuring it out. But like where does your balancing point, I guess, lie on that? Like
Yeah.
which end of which phase would you prefer, and can a game turn you off if it weighs too heavily on either end?
Yeah, I would like to say, just to remind our audience that this is a question for me, but also for all of you. So feel free to
Yes.
respond, email us, write us in the comments, or I'll put this in a poll on Spotify. So I kind of mixed on it. I personally will get turned off if I figured something out and then can't do it forever. Like if I figure it out and I mess up a few times, like that's fine. But if I figure it out, kind of like Ori, it's like I figure it out and I tried it for literally what felt like hours, that's going to turn me off. But it's like, I don't know how to necessarily balance that. It makes me think about, so I took honors physics in high school, or AP physics is what it might be called. I don't know. Whatever, the highest physics, for who knows why. I went to film school after. I don't know why I did this to myself, but anyway. And our final project was to design a catapult that could shoot something at two different distances. So you had to be able to calibrate it to shoot specific distances. We had to build this ourselves. And
Interesting.
my anecdote is always that, well, I got an A- on the notes. So like all of the plans, the drawings, the math involved in the catapult looked great. Check, 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 check. I got a D+ on the actual catapult because basically got points for the fact that it catapulted. Didn't do anything else we wanted it to. It couldn't get the distances we needed.
Wow.
I mean, it did do, I think we also got points because it did do two different distances. It just wasn't anywhere near what we wanted it to do. I mean, we also weren't the only ones. This was a really hard project. But it's like, it kind of leaves there to be like, well, there's some value in like execution of a plan, right? Like I couldn't take those notes and say, oh, well, I can be a catapult builder, because clearly that's not true.
No,
So,
but you could engineer a catapult, it sounds like. It
sounds
sounds like
like
you've got the math.
if I had given those plans to someone who's very good at building, they probably could have made it happen.
Yeah. And
But
the two different tasks.
right. So that's why it's tough for me, because it's like, and also like I was very, very frustrated with it when I started to play video games. Now that I'm getting more familiar with controllers, I'm probably building new muscles in my fingers to like help me do that, probably. My reflexes might be getting better. So like those kinds of things like level you up to be able to do these things. But I also want to think from an accessibility standpoint. Like I want everyone to be able to enjoy video games. If you have like difficulty moving things around, like, but you can figure out the puzzles, then I don't think the execution should be too challenging. And I think you're right about it's like the type of game. Like if the game is mostly puzzle solving, then once you've solved that puzzle, I don't think it should be incredibly difficult to execute that solve. Whereas if it's mostly like a battle game, then I think it's okay to be difficult to execute it, because usually there's less of a puzzle there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, less of a figuring out. Like a battle might just be about
Doing the
like
right
the only part
combos,
that
or
you need
like,
to figure out in a lot of them is like when is the enemy going to attack, right?
yeah.
So that you know when to back off yourself and like dodge, just
Or
as an
like,
example.
like having good like combos that you practice or things like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one, but I like it. It's a good deep dive. It's like, I don't know where you draw that line. It almost just makes me be like, you should just be able to set more parameters on games. Like to say
That would be a good one.
yeah, like, because some people really enjoy the tough challenge of it, and then some people can't or don't want to do something 20 times.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna use an example in case people are having a hard time grokking, or would like an example of maybe two extreme ends of the spectrum, right? So a boss, let's say you are entering a boss battle and only one item in the game can do any damage to this particular boss. This would be so if you weigh it more towards figuring it out, then maybe it only takes one hit from like the bow and arrow to kill this boss, but it won't take any damage from anything else. So the challenge is figuring out which of your weapons will do anything. But once you do that, you've solved it. The game
Yeah.
is like, all right, you've solved the puzzle.
Good
Let's
job.
move on.
Yeah.
Then the other end of that is the boss can take damage from any weapon that you have. It takes 1,000 hits from any weapon that you use. So then that is purely just the execution of you figuring out what you need, like how to do 1,000 hits to it, or actually performing the execution of 1,000 hits. And then there's like the balance. What a game usually would do, like a Legend of Zelda game would usually do, is like, okay, this boss takes damage from bows and arrows, and you have to do it like 8 times or 6 times or whatever, and then the boss will die. So you prove that you can figure out the challenge, and then you prove that you can execute it. And generally it'll have like 1 or 2 phases where it'll like switch up a little, make it a little harder for you to hit it with the bow and arrow in the second phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of heavily weighing the figure it out. I often
Mhm.
find myself playing games, and I might be a scrub for this, but like as soon as I figure out the exact execution that I need to perform, and then I just can't do it, and I'll give it like a couple tries, and by a couple, I'm obsessive, so I mean I'll work at it like for 24 hours straight and then just never touch the game again if I haven't figured it out. But it's like, okay, I've figured out the gimmick, like let me win. An example, yeah, an example that I've recently remember is like in Elden Ring, like there's certain enemies that are like completely gimmick enemies. Like they have a bunch of attacks that are kind of like traps to bait you in to attack them. So so if you attack at the wrong time, they can quickly and easily punish you, do a punch damage, possibly even instantly kill you. Once you figure out like, oh, I wait until they use this move, and then I can get behind them or something and do massive damage, or oh, I can parry this one specific move and riposte. I don't know how to pronounce that French word.
I don't know what
Uh,
you're talking about.
Riposte.
I've never heard that word before.
Oh, all right. Well, comment on the proper
Yeah.
pronunciation.
And yeah.
But but yeah, like if you do that, like it kills it, and then I end up like employing that, and it still does like only this much out of this much of a health bar, and we're a podcast. What did I just do? That was so it does 10% of a 100% health bar, right? And you're like, oh, cool. I just have to execute that perfectly 10 more times. Obnoxious. Absolutely
Obnoxious.
obnoxious.
I agree.
Like 3. If I figure out the thing, only make me do it 3 times.
I feel like this is a problem in Pokemon Legends Arceus too.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially,
Yeah.
what was that one? It
The
was like the
electric
second or
one?
third.
Or
Oh,
no.
that one didn't feel like there was anything to figure out. You kind of just like,
The one that was the like the ballerina one?
maybe I'm having a hard time remembering, but I remember there was one fight that I did that I just like walked into it and I like accidentally beat it.
Yeah, I think that was the second one. I think it was the ballerina because you literally like didn't I don't think you took any damage. I don't think they even went into I don't even think they went into their like battle phase. Like you just annihilated them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like so that I executed it perfectly, I guess, and it
I
rewarded
guess.
me like for figuring out whatever it was to figure out.
I just need
Arcanine, I also remember like downloading, figuring it out, and it being like trivially easy for me.
I was more thinking with Pokemon Legends Arceus the just the fact that if you do figure it out, sometimes you have to still do it 100 million times. That's kind of what I
Yeah,
meant is like it's just like okay, like I know what I have to do, but I just have to repeat this 100 million times and stay alive while I do it, and then I die. But it's like not exciting to go back because like I know exactly what I have to do, and
right. And like to go back into one of the things I was saying with like TamTam, where type advantage was super important, where like level 9s would be taking out my much higher level things. That seems like the design is much more heavily weighed on the oh, you figured it out, we'll reward you situation, where it's like, hey, if you figure out that fire beats grass, now every time you use a fire move, it'll instantly end the battle against almost every grass type, regardless of level difference. And maybe contradicting myself a little bit, that seems too far. Like when a level 9. Anyways, I'm interested. We are interested in what y'all have to say. How do you prefer? Like, what mix do you prefer in uh, conceptually figuring it out and then actually executing
Yeah.
what you figured out?
Awesome. All right. Well, that brings us to our final and my favorite part of the show, the rapid fire round. I'm going to randomly generate 3 random words. That's the random part. And we're going to have to make a game based on those 3 words. Now, we have to use all 3. We have to come up with a game name. And that's the name of the game. Are you ready? Isaac will put a timer on for 5 minutes. Are you ready for
I
our
have a
first?
5-minute timer. I am
Here
ready.
we go. Our first 3 words are critical. Oh boy. Attraction. Kidnap.
All right. So you are a your character gets kidnapped
Mm-hmm.
and you have a giant magnet in your pocket.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And you use that magnet to collect keys to unlock various doors to escape your kidnapper's hideout.
Okay. How do you do that?
But the keys are metal, so they like slide
Yeah, I
towards
guess I mean
you.
like how is it is that like are there puzzle like what is it? Are there puzzles to do that? Are
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
walking around?
The puzzle is figuring out. So obviously there will be guards, and you have to avoid the guards while collecting the keys using your big magnet, and your big magnet will attract keys, and then you have to navigate these keys through mazes using your own movement. This is really hard, actually. This is one of those ideas that's hard to explain. I have a very clear vision, as I often do, of like what this game would look and play like, but describing it is the hard part. Um, so there's, and now I'm trying to like describe like the visual that a game would give in words on a podcast. But
It's fine. I get the general mechanic.
yeah, so the key, basically, when you enter a room, the key of that room is constantly moving towards your character, and there's barricades and
Oh, okay.
guards. So
Okay.
so there's never a straight path between the key and your character, and there's also like obviously solid walls and stuff versus like vent walls that the key can actually come through. So you have to move around the level in such a way that the key will slide towards you. You will dodge all the guards, not be spotted, and the key will eventually make it to you through these mazes and
Okay. I get it a
vents.
little bit better now, knowing that the key is like constantly in motion. I'm good to
Yeah.
go with it. Um,
Okay.
we could call it the key to escape. Key in the key of kidnap.
Kidnapped.
Kidnapped. I kind of like that actually.
All
I
right.
don't hate that.
With 1 minute and 50 seconds left, kidnapped. The magnet maze game.
Okay. Are you ready for our next 3 words? Are you ready?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
say yes.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Youth,
Okay.
history, boat.
Youth history boat.
So I think this is going to be a learn 'em up.
Oh, yep. It's got the word history in it.
And
Therefore, it's
youth.
got a youth. This is a learn 'em up kids game.
All
We
right.
love learn 'em up kids games.
So I think it could be maybe kind of like Carmen Sandiego Escape Through Time, where Carmen Sandiego goes to different historical things. So maybe you're on a boat, and each boat takes you to like different moments in history, and you learn about them. There's got to be more game elements though. So
Okay. All right. Here's what it is. The boats take you to a point in history, and then in order to escape that point in history, you have to answer this list of questions, which requires you exploring where the boat has taken you, and the answers will be within. So like,
it's kind of like a quiz, but a game.
yeah, no. That's
Okay.
It's basically just a series of quizzes. Like, you go to Pompeii, right?
Mhm.
And
Got to.
one of the questions is, what year did Vesuvius cover Pompeii? Am I thinking of the right island? It was
I think
Pompeii
so.
that got buried in ash, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was Vesuvius that did it. But anyways, you figure out like what year it was by going around the town, and you find someone who's complaining about something.
So yeah, you'd have to like interview people and maybe like find artifacts, like look at books or like find stuff under rocks or tools or things like that, right?
Yeah, like what famous Greek philosopher said this quote or something, and like you're walking through and someone will be like, that darn Socrates, him and his, and then he repeats that quote, and then you go, I can go back to the boat and answer this question now.
I will say I kind of want it to not have that you don't know what questions are going to be asked until you're trying to get back on the boat. So you have to explore as much as you can and like glean as much as you can. Because that's one way that I don't want to say cheated because it's not really cheating, but like basically didn't read in school. Like if they gave you a list, like say 5 reading comprehension questions, and then they give you like a 5-paragraph article. I don't read the article if I know the questions ahead of time. I just like skim for words that are in the questions and then like write out the answer. I don't read the article. So it's like I want people to play the game. I don't want them to just run around gathering only the information. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well,
Because
okay.
what you described seemed like a little bit like too easy / like contrived.
Well, what learn 'em up game isn't contrived?
That's fair.
Is my question.
But I don't want it to be that easy.
Fair. But I'm also then at like, so if they get the questions wrong, is that just a game over and
no, they can try
it generates
again.
new questions, or?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, you get new questions. So you can go like learn more if you got something wrong, but you don't know if you'll get the same questions the next time you try.
Okay. All right. And then this is called Learn 'em Up Kids.
The Ship of Knowledge. The Sea of Knowledge.
Well, because it's about time travel, right?
Yeah,
so
but you're on the ship.
We got to incorporate so that parents know that they're buying a history Learn 'em Up.
Okay.
So it's got to be
Learn 'em Up Kids, learning through time.
Okay. All right. Learn 'em Up Kids, learning through time with 1 minute and 5 seconds left on the clock.
Nice. All right. Are you ready for our final 3 words?
I am. I was born for this.
Basketball. Well, we did it. The game. We did the game.
Yeah, that's made for us, actually.
Filter and remedy.
Okay, does it happen to be Philtre?
No. It's filter,
okay.
like a Brita filter.
Dang it! All right.
What is a filter?
So it's like a potion.
Oh, okay. No, it's not.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but that would make it a lot easier because you would be a basketball apothecary.
I mean, you can still be a basketball apothecary, but you have to take Instagram photos of all of you.
So all right. This is a basketball game where in between games you are performing arcane healing through herbs and medicine, and also snapping selfies.
Yeah, you have to promote yourself through social media.
Okay, so it is a baseball. Wait, is this a baseball sim management sim or a baseball like sport game?
I think it's more of a management sim.
Okay, nice. There is not enough sport management games.
It's got to be because like that's you're healing them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you've got to keep your team healthy and you've got to keep your team promoted. Those are the
yes,
two things that this focuses on. You've got to have a popular team
and a
and a
healthy team.
healthy team.
Yeah,
And
no, that's good.
then
You
the
got to.
healthier and more popular your team is, the better it does at the actual
Yep.
sport game.
The more games it gets booked, right? That's how basketball works.
Yeah. All right. And for some reason you are a Dark Ages plague doctor
Just for fun.
because apothecary. Why not? What word am I basing apothecary off of? That is basketball, filter. What was the middle one?
Well, filter was the middle one.
Oh, what was the third one?
I forget. Heal or something. Something to do with healing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Cool.
Sorry, I
What?
already closed the window. But yeah, filter. You're getting apothecary because of filter potions that you were like, hopefully it's this. So
Yeah,
you
but
made
then you
that up.
said that we could still be healers, so
Yeah,
I
for
assumed
fun.
that there was
Well,
another word.
yeah, the heal word. I believe.
Okay.
I don't remember.
This is going to be really fun to
We'll
go
have
back
to.
and listen to and, well, edit too, because you're going to be like, that third word was not
It's
incorporated at
funny
all.
though.
They lost the plot. They forgot the third word.
It's hashtag
This is
content.
um and the game is called
Journey to the top.
Journey to the Top of
Slam
Basketball Tale.
Slam Dunk'ems. Dunk'em ups.
Slam dunk 'em ups. No, it's not a slam dunk 'em
Yeah,
up
yeah.
though, because you're managing the slam dunkers. You're
Yeah.
not slam dunking. Healthy,
The road to
healthy
success.
basketball Instagram.
Dribble for the
Bass
gram.
selfies. Do it for the gram.
Dribble.
No.
Dribble for the gram.
Dribble for the gram. Dribble for the gram with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Dribble for the gram. The basketball management simulator, where you are, for some reason, an old-timey plague doctor taking selfies.
It's really good.
And
It's the
okay,
best game.
we've already called time, but I am adding this feature.
Okay.
Taking selfies is an actual gameplay element where it's like those flash game, like basically like the dress up doll flash games, or like the arrange your room kind of things, where like you can drag and drop like things around to set the scene, like you
Got
put your
it.
little
Yes.
plague
Yeah.
doctor self, and like you can like put a pose on it or something, and then you have like the healthy basketball player, or like maybe unhealthy, maybe he's got like a broken leg but he's like thumbs upping from the cot. And that's what that is. You set props around, and then you click a picture button, and you can upload it to Instagram. It's in this theoretical world, we are partnering with Instagram to produce this game, so it
Okay,
has
cool.
Instagram integration.
But it might not,
Yeah,
and that'd be fine either way.
yeah. So yeah, that's our podcast, folks.
That is it. So I do want to mention next week we will not have a podcast. I believe it's October 3rd or 4th, October 4th. Because I will be out of tune and won't be able to do it.
Out of tune.
Out
But
of
yes,
tune.
October 4th. I confirmed October 4th, so mark your calendars
Mark
for
your calendars
a no...
to be disappointed. And,
Yes.
but we'll be back at it the week after. No big deal. And yes, you can follow along with our adventures on social media at Make That Game Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/makethatgame. We haven't done anything yet, but we will in the future. So like be the first one to see that ideally. And then we're on YouTube. You can search Make That Game, the channel. And if you subscribe, you're going to help us get to be able to say a URL at this point, which would be just beautiful. So please do that. And if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, that's fantastic. You can also find us on Spotify, blah, 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 all the great places. And send us an email at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com with any game ideas, things you want us to play in Honk and Bonk, words for us to create games out of. We love to hear from our listeners. And if you heard a game today that you think I would like to develop that from start to finish, we do encourage you to head out there and make that game.
Boom 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 boom. You'd think I would be better at humming my own song. Like I made that song. You'd think I would be able to hum it a little better.